Hug those radios, kiss those radios, turn down that television set on Fox. You can watch the game, but listen to us. This is Sunday Night Prime Time, the Jacobson Report. We are caroming across the East Central Plains of Kansas and beyond. John Jacobson in studio here with Blake Griffin, the home and away voice of your Ottawa Braves, joined by our two super special guest stars tonight, Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the Georgetown legend, currently at New Mexico State University. This man has done a deep dive into NCAA tournament history, finishing in the top 10, winning the Big East, 250 plus wins just in the Big East in his storied career, helping bring women's college hoops to parity, to Title IX parity, beginning from his vaunted perch in our nation's capital in the halls of Congress as Georgetown, just down the street, he led the mighty Hoyas alongside John Thompson's men's team with Patrick Ewing. And now he is broadcasting for ESPN as well as his podcast, Play-by-Play. We have Dr. Everett Francis Fogarty III. This man, the only physician to win a federal CARES grant during the COVID crisis. All this man did was cure all of his COVID patients, none hospitalized. Fogarty is the real deal, and we're going to be hearing more from him. He's going to talk about some incredible things going on in sports medicine. Blake Griffin, they were listening to you yesterday as well, calling the game, both men's and women's, for the Ottawa Braves. They were listening to us in Franklin County and Miami County. They were listening to us in Anderson County and Lynn County, Johnson County and Douglas County. Blake Griffin, they listen to us here, the number one country format in the East Central Plains. But your home and away voice of the Kansas City Royals, and they listen to us in Emporia, in our capital, the seat of the legislature, in Topeka, in Lawrence itself, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, and in Ottawa, Paola, Princeton, Wellsville, Garnett City. Here we are tonight. Watch the game, enjoy the game. First quarter is just ending here of this great Super Bowl. Chiefs and Eagles. And Coach, let's bring you in first here. You hear the great Sam Spence, NFL music. You are an Eagle. Give a little bit of your background and why you're so Eagle-ish. Are you hawkish on the game tonight?
Big time, John. Born and raised in Philadelphia. Been with the Eagles through the 1960 NFL Championship versus Lombardi's Packers. Then went on a pretty bad, dry run until Dick Vermeil brought the Eagles to the Super Bowl in 80-81.
Right.
And, of course, the Eagles have been in 3 Super Bowls since 2017, but lost to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs 2 years ago. It's going to be a great rematch.
Yes, it certainly is, Coach. Dr. Fogarty, you're an Omaha boy. Do you have those Kansas City Chiefs leanings?
Yeah, that's for sure. And I just wanted to dedicate this show to my old friend, Calvin Jones,
Yes.
former Husker I-back.
Yes.
Who set the single-game rushing record against the University of Kansas as a freshman back in 1990. That stood for about 20 years. And Calvin tragically died of carbon monoxide poisoning a couple weeks back here in Omaha.
Very sad.
And,
very sad.
So I was pretty close to Calvin, and so was my dad, who my father was Calvin's corporate attorney for his Husker Forever apparel line. And so just there's an angel up in heaven watching over this show today, and it's Calvin Jones in my mind. So, but yeah, you know, I'm a Chiefs guy, have been for a long time outside of the Chicago Bears when I went to the University of Chicago. But you know, we got a couple of hyperbaric tanks in some of those Chief defensemen's homes, and it's helping get those guys ready for the tackles.
Well,
and,
folks, I love you because you left those pretty boys at Creighton Prep there at that Jesuit Pavilion of Higher Learning, and you went and played with that great African-American coach at Omaha Central and that highly integrated team. And Fogarty, for as ingenious as a physician as you are, I can't believe playing the position you played that you didn't get more brain cells knocked out of order. Just think of what you could have been if you hadn't taken all those head blows.
Well, you know, the irony is that I went off to the University of Chicago after playing at Omaha Central on AstroTurf and probably had a concussion every week, tackling Calvin Jones. And I was going to be a physics major, but I couldn't do the math after my freshman year of college football and more concussions. So I gravitated into medicine as a physicist in medicine.
Ted Fogarty here with us.
We should be concerned then.
Coach, you know, that boy, talk about this Omaha Kansas City connection. Can anybody say Gale Sayers, the Rocket, you know, leaves Omaha, goes down to play for KU, and the rest is history, obviously, with the Bears there.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at this game a little bit here, guys. It's early on the game. We're not at halftime yet. And again, you can watch the game. Just listen to our radio show. Some of you will be listening to this on archive. But, Coach, give us kind of an assessment of the season in the NFL. Obviously, a big day today. The President of the United States of America, for the first time in history, will be attending live in person at the Super Bowl. And there's kind of a zeitgeist and a resonance. All the Trump people are coming out of their proverbial closets. Mahomes is a Trump guy. There are a lot of Trump guys. Perhaps not Miss Swift in her skybox, but it's friendly climes in the NFL for President Trump this evening.
Yeah, I want to see Trump venture down to Taylor Swift's box and say hi to everybody. I want to see what happens. That Donald can do it. You know, in the NFL this year, the two best teams are playing in the Super Bowl. And the best quarterback in the league and for the last decade and maybe for the next decade is in this game. So I really think this game, if you're going to bet this game, and the Eagles are getting 1.5 points, I think it's actually down to 1 because 60% of the money of the betting public is going to the Eagles right now. But, you know, if you really want to bet this game and you want to bet coach against coach, quarterback against quarterback, you have to bet on Kansas City. I mean, you have to bet on Reed and Mahomes. But here's a couple of interesting facts, John. Casey's wearing white today, and the team that wears white in the Super Bowl is 16-4.
Wow, I did not know that. Blake, did you know that, Mr. Griffin?
I did not, actually.
That's fascinating. Continue,
right.
Coach. He might have a few more of these tidbits here.
Rushing leaders, the team that wins the game on the ground, has won 43 and lost 15 Super Bowls. Obviously, this bodes well for the Eagles unless Kansas City stops Saquon Barkley. Along with that, time of possession, the team that wins that category is 41-17 in the Super Bowl, and that goes along with keeping the ball on the ground. And the underdog is 13-4 in the last 17 games. The Eagles are the underdog. There's a lot more of these little tidbits out there. The game is going to go down to the wire, in my opinion. If the Eagles do not lead by 2 scores, 9 or 10 points, going into the last few minutes, the game is going to go to Kansas City.
Here we are with Coach Snap, Dr. Ted Fogarty, John Jacobson here. I would remind you that this wonderful show is brought to you by several terrific sponsors, namely Jim and Cindy Jandren. They have founded and built this wonderful enterprise called Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC. It's energy for a strong America because it's ethanol and renewable fuels. It's lean, it's clean, and it's green. Guys, they're building ag revenue centers for our farm families. They are helping us not rely on foreign Mideast terror states for our oil. They're making sure that the food supply in America is owned by American families and not by corporate concentrationists. In eastern Nebraska, Midwest Renewable Energy LLC, and also Jim and Cindy Jandren, so pivotal in their support and sponsorship of Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org, and like the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson, get your T-shirt and run and walk for life. We had a big run and walk for life here that it ended just down the street at one of our fellow schools, Benedictine, a few months ago. These are folks that they help expectant mothers and babies in the womb and after they're born, building a culture of life from womb to tomb. Life Runners, go to liferunners.org. Well, guys, I'm going to stir the pot here as I like to do. So, teaching statistics in college, Blake, I took an informal poll at that pavilion of great culture at Blanco's restaurant the other night, bar and grill.
Oh, yeah.
And at Blanco's, Russ McCullough and I, after our academic debate, like Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, after a hard-fought legislative battle, we went in to have a drink. Tip and the Gipper would go. They were Irishmen. They would go in and have a beer. After our debate on that Baptist campus, beloved Baptist campus there at Ottawa, Blake, we thought perhaps we shouldn't break out the booze. And it wasn't the Indy 500, so milk wouldn't have been appropriate. But we went to Blanco's, and people there were very worried about Saquon Barkley. The Chiefs fans were very worried. Is that a legit worry, Blake?
I mean, as they should be. He's been a trapped running back for a long time up in the at MetLife Stadium, as the Giants have not treated him as well as they ever should have. He got a chance to play for the Eagles, and a phenomenal team, good quarterback, a leader of a quarterback in Jalen Hurts, a coaching staff that's going to use his ability very well. And honestly, if the MVP was not such a heavy leaning quarterback award, he definitely should have finished a little bit higher than I think he did.
Doc Fogarty, I'll bring you in here for your cameo. Are you worried about Saquon Barkley being a Chiefs fan?
Absolutely. That guy's a one-play electric factor that can turn a game around on a dime. All he's got to do is jump over some other player on the Chiefs' defense, and watch out. It could be exactly what they need to juice up the win.
Coach, that's the only crack in the armor of the Chiefs' confidence that I've seen, but they were worried about it at Blanco's the other night. What do you say?
Well, again, I'm an Eagles fan, but I would tell you, do not cry and do not fret, because the Chiefs haven't yielded a single 100-yard performance to a tailback this year.
Wow, that's a huge stat.
In fact, Derrick Henry only got 46 yards against Kansas City this year, averaging 117 per game for the rest of the year. Bijan Robinson in Atlanta, only 31 yards. Cuba Hubbard, only 58 yards versus Carolina. Bucky Irvin, 24 yards when they played Tampa Bay. And all of these guys were running well. They are rushing leaders in the NFL. I believe that Barkley might get 99 yards, but Jalen Hurts could get another 99 on the ground, and that would be the rushing factor.
This is fascinating stuff. So now I'm going to stir the pot one more time. We've had Craig Bergman on some of our broadcasts with his great political prognostications. He also holds an enormous Super Bowl party each year up in Des Moines. And he's putting red meat out there on his Facebook today. Here's what Bergman says. Of course, Bergman is the king of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Bergman says, the Eagles are a vastly superior team. Therefore, we shall see at least 3 highly questionable calls or no calls today. Coach Knapp, what say you to that?
Well, everybody all over social media for the last 2 weeks is claiming that Kansas City's been getting the calls all year. So I don't know about that one. I hope it's a clean game in that regard. There's always a holding penalty somewhere that screws things up, and there will be pass interferences because both teams are going to take their shots. I'm not worried about the refs in this game as much as the media might proclaim such.
Well, some of Craig's friends are teeing it back off to him. Ray Morris says, "Oh, shut the blank up," and Gary Leffler says, yes, the prophet has spoken." What say you, Fogarty? Do you have an opinion about the refs tonight?
Well, it is the Big Easy, and you never know. You never know who might get some Bitcoin out of a call.
It is Southern Vegas, you know.
And Griffin now has also weighed in. So I asked my stats class how this is interesting. So I've got a lot of kids I'm teaching this semester. I did a query of one of my statistics classes for the following question. There were 40 kids in the class. I asked how many were Swifties. Hardly anybody raised their hand, which is interesting because Blake, I had done that with another class prior. I got the same reaction of basically no Swifties. And I'm thinking, is that because she's 35 and these kids are now 18 and she's kind of like what Madonna was starting to get to be?
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. Or are they just tired of it? It's interesting. We also did the statistical sample here of the most favorite sports poster in town. And according to Walmart, Michael Jordan's in third, Caitlin Clark in second, and Livy Dunn. Not only is she in first, you've not been able to get a Livy Dunn poster now for a solid month at Walmart. Just saying, Blake. Do you have all those posters on your wall? Are you buying all those, or is it your other Ottawa Confair as you're an undergrad?
The Livy Dunn poster is not on my wall. I'll say that right now. I think I'm past the age of putting girls on my wall. No, I've got a strong respect for all sports and all generations of said sports. So I've got my Kobe's, I've got my Jordans, I've got my LeBrons on the wall, and so on and so forth. Barry Bonds a big influence in my baseball playing days.
Well, let me ask you this. But a fourth of my class thought that the gimmick of Taylor proposing to, Kelsey proposing to Taylor, especially after a win, I had 1 in 4 think that might happen. Do you see that happening tonight?
I think it's a higher chance than it was last year, because everybody was preaching it last year, and they were dating for less than 6 months, and so that some people do get engaged in that time, especially in the celebrity ranks. But I do think it's probably a slightly higher chance of this year than last year. But
maybe Trump could preside over a wedding, an impromptu wedding on the field, Coach. What do you think's going to happen?
I don't want to see Kelsey propose, nor do I want to see him win. I hope he retires after the game, no matter what.
Doc Fogarty, what say you?
I'm hoping that first of all, your survey, John, is in some of the greatest areas of rural America.
It is.
Ottawa University, Benedictine. I'm rooting for Harrison Butker, who gave the great speech at Benedictine College a couple of years ago to basically win this on a field goal, and Kelsey can just walk away.
Well, I was teaching one of my classes the other day about insurance writers, and I used him as an example. I said they would have probably an insurance writer on his leg. And I guess come to think of it, they probably got insurance writers on Miss Taylor's legs as well. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Have any of you guys seen that old clip of a younger Donald Trump, but Chris Collinsworth literally is at the MC, and they throw the football through a tiny little hole in the tarp contest? Have you guys seen that? Donald Trump threading the needle. That is one of the greatest sports clips I've ever seen. Have you seen that, Coach?
No, I haven't.
You guys all need to Google. Yeah, you guys all need to Google it. Google Trump throwing football, Chris Collinsworth, Blake Griffin. That guy, I think he could have quarterbacked in the NFL.
He's a sneaky athlete. He won
his club championship the other day at 78. He legitimately beat those guys.
Like if you watch his video with Bryson DeChambeau, that's 18 holes. That's not easy to do, and he's out shooting DeChambeau, who is a pretty good golfer in his own right. He's a sneaky athlete for sure.
Fogarty, maybe he's taking Proimmune. What's he doing?
You know what? Maybe, yeah.
Actually, he is now, according to Joe Casarino, our buddy who's the distributor for Dr. Crumb's amazing formula, which is the end of all pandemics. If everybody just took 2 scoops a day, we wouldn't have to worry about a pandemic ever again. TheBestImmuneSupport.com, everybody listening.
That's right.
Get your ProImmune Immune Formulation 200 at TheBestImmuneSupport.com.
Coach Knapp did such an awesome job in his long tenure there at Georgetown. So proud of him. Man, talk about a guy that graduated all of his students. They're also successful today. I'm reminded of Distant Replay that Jerry Kramer and Dick Schaap did after the original book, Instant Replay, how all those Packers were so enormously successful in their business lives and professional lives after their tours of duty with Lombardi. And guys, I'm going to salute Vince Lombardi today because it's true no one has ever had 3 straight Super Bowls, but it would have been a Super Bowl if they'd have called it that in 66. Lombardi had 3 NFL titles, 66, 67, and 68 were the Januaries of the tail end of those seasons. And Lombardi had 2 just prior to that. He won 5 and 7 years, so he won them in the calendar years of 67, 66, 65, and also 62 and 61. Coach, he only lost 1 time to a team of yours up in that neck of the woods. Vince Lombardi's only playoff loss, and that 2-year gap when he didn't win it, the 1 year he was 11, 2, and 1, and there were no wild cards. The Bears were 11, 1, and 2, and the only reason the Packers finished a half game out of first to go to play in the NFL Championship is because their star running back, Notre Dame Heisman Trophy winner Paul Hornung, was suspended that year for gambling. Coach, I still think Lombardi is the gold standard. The trophy is named the Lombardi Standard. Do the Chiefs surpass the legendary Packers with a win today?
Yeah, those were the days when men were men and women played in women's sports only. That's that was unusual in these days till now. That's a very good question. A lot of historians will tell you don't compare eras.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't think if the Chiefs win today, I don't think they're better than the Patriots run.
Yeah.
And Brady's 7.
Yeah.
I don't think they even match that. They have a ways to go.
Fascinating. Let's Blake is just chomping at the bit here to talk a little bit about hoops, and I'm gonna have to hear Fogarty talk about Creighton, the Bluebirds.
Yeah, Blue Jays.
The Bluebirds, and let's see. But Coach. We had an incredibly rivalry in-house game yesterday. Kansas going to K-State. Kansas, who at the beginning of the season was a number 1 ranked team. Coach, remind our folks what happened yesterday, and where do these 2 teams, the Jayhawks and the Wildcats, go from here? Our audience is waiting with bated breath.
Well, I'll tell you right now, in the Big 12, Kansas is 5th at 7-5, and Kansas State's below them, somewhere about 10 or 11. But yesterday, K-State whooped them. They whooped Kansas 81-73. What was interesting is that Kansas had shot 50% from the field and had 22 assists, 6 for 19 from 3. There weren't many turnovers in the game. Not turnovers. There weren't many free throws shot in the game at all. Kansas 7 for 12. K-State was 5 for 6. And K-State won the game handily until Kansas closed it to like 9 in the last couple minutes. Kansas State shot 50% field goals, only 10 turnovers. They had 4 guys in double figures, and the money man, Coleman Hawkins, at 12 points, 8 assists. They are getting there. I think I said on this show about a month ago, Kansas State's offense was totally disjointed.
You did?
I did not know what they were trying to accomplish with their offense, and they looked like it when they lost several in a row. Right now, they're running on all cylinders. They're in sync. They've got their 5 starters scoring double figures or close every game. That was the 3rd straight game that Jerome Tang has won in his building against Kansas. I don't think Kansas. Now, I've seen Joe Lunardi's bracketology lately. I've been looking at it, obviously, and he's got Kansas as a 3 seed. I don't see it. Yeah. I don't see Kansas as a top 16 team right now going into the tournament. They'll get in 5, 6, 7 seed, in my opinion. But there's time to change that.
Here with Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr. Coach, I got to bring up one one nice story for the week here that kind of touched my heart the other day, and I'm kind of a hard-bitten, tough old crusty guy, but this touched me the other day. And Coach, at some point, Dick Vitale must have been on your team bus or somewhere involved with Georgetown, because he had a nice conversation with Jennifer Neal back in the day, and that's when Jennifer Neal was playing for you under the name Jennifer Jacobson before her marriage. And Dick Vitale was funny and engaging with Jennifer. Dick Vitale, after a 2-year cancer battle, was back broadcasting yesterday on national television, and the crowd went wild. What a nice scene, Coach Knapp.
Well, I'll tell you, John, I happened to see the first half of that game only when obviously they were introducing Dick. He was meddling with the student crowd there. And when they brought him on camera about mid-first half to talk about his battle with cancer and his fight to get back on the air. I followed Dick Vitale on Twitter through that whole thing. I sent him a few prayers and messages myself. He got back to me once, but he doesn't know me. He doesn't know me at all. But the point is, the most emotional thing and heart-rendering thing about all this is the bottom line is Dick Vitale raises a lot of money for pediatric cancer. He has a gala every May down in Florida, down in Sarasota, where he raises millions. And he basically said more than once, I've been telling these kids not to quit in their battle for cancer all my life. How can I quit now? And he hasn't, and he probably won't if he gets it a third time, God forbid. God bless Dick Vitale.
John Jacobson here with Blake Griffin. You're listening to the Jacobson Report on primetime Sunday nights here on KOFO 1037 1220 and streaming live all over the world and soon to be on podcast. And just like Batman and the Green Hornet, Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, we are going to cross-pollinate these first two shows tonight because you're turning down your TV, you're watching the Chiefs and the Eagles, but you're listening to us in the background, and we're going to move over from the Jacobson Group into Make America Healthy again. I want Coach to stay over for a few minutes if he can while Ted takes the helm here. There's some more little intersections here that we want to do. Just to let you know that as we sign out, we thank Jim and Cindy Jandrin from Midwest Renewable Energy LLC, ethanol, renewable fuels, energy for a strong America. It's lean, it's clean, and it's green. And Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org, get your t-shirt, Run and Walk for Life, build a culture of life. We are helping expectant mothers and babies in the womb and after they are born. So, don't touch that dial. We're immediately going to go over since we're at the bottom of the hour. So, hang tight for 10 seconds. Be safe, be smart, be good, be strong. Love Jesus Christ. God bless us, everyone. Go Chiefs and Eagles. Since we've got a bipartisan crew here, we'll be back in 5 seconds.